and welcome. I'm Jeremy Olivier, and here's what happened this week. Former Taipei Mayor Wen-je, once a rising political star and a presidential candidate earlier this year, has been charged with accepting bribes and embezzling public funds. Taipei prosecutors are now seeking a prison sentence of nearly 30 years. Tiffany Wong has more.
28 years and 6 months. That's how long Taipei district prosecutors are seeking for former Taipei City Mayor Wen-je on charges of corruption. They say Ke accepted bribes over a construction project while in office, worth over $500,000, and that he mishandled $2 million in political donations during his unsuccessful bid for president earlier this year.
柯姓被告有为市长就宣誓条例所为之应恪守国家法令、不收受贿赂等事实，足侦其委员矫饰，饭后态度不佳。
Ke is a former medical doctor turned politician who founded the Taiwan People's Party in 2019. He found strong support among Taiwan's youth who liked his straightforward manner and among those who wanted to see a third force in Taiwan's politics, long dominated by the Democratic Progressive Party and Kuomintang. His party is standing with him, and they're calling for Ke to be released from detention while the investigation continues.
我相信大家 都有一个共同的感受，这个共同的感受是关押了柯文哲主席4个月以后，拿不出任何新的像样的证据，竟然敢污指柯文哲主席收受不法的贿赂。
Ke expressed an intention to stand down as party leader and asked for special permission while being held incommunicado to send in a resignation letter. Some speculate this was meant to distance the party from his corruption investigation. But the TPP says they have not received such a letter and is still calling Ke their leader. Many of Ke's supporters see the corruption charges as retaliation by the DPP to shut down the politician and his party, and the corruption charges are further fueling their stand against the establishment. Eason Chen and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
President Lai Ching-te says Taiwan has no choice but to face the risk of natural disasters head-on. He made the comments at an evacuation drill he oversaw in New Taipei. As Rick Glauert reports, it's part of Taiwan's efforts to boost its response to crises.
This center of Taiwan's largest Buddhist charity, here in one of New Taipei's most populated districts, is holding an evacuation exercise. They're practicing how a civil society organization like this would work together with local government, emergency services, and the military to get residents to safety during a disaster like a typhoon or an earthquake, or in the event of conflict. This disaster response cooperation exercise is being overseen by the country's president, Lai Ching-te.
我们防灾演练是秉持防患于未然，就是灾害还没有发生的时候，我们就要预做准备，来达到多一分准备，少一分灾害这样的目标。
Taiwan prides itself on its disaster response, and it's drills like this that means that Taiwan's population knows how to spring into action and prevent loss of life when disaster strikes. Taiwan this year has already been hit by a 7.2 magnitude earthquake and 3 powerful typhoons. The message from the country's leader today is that as we move into the next year, Taiwan must remain vigilant. Alex Chen and Rick Glauert in New Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
In a major upset to President Lai, all 7 of his nominees for top judicial positions have failed to gain approval from the legislature. None of them garnered enough support among any party to secure the simple majority needed to be confirmed. Tiffany Wong reports.
Struck down. All 7 justice nominees to Taiwan's top court have failed to earn the 57 legislative votes needed to be appointed. The leading opposition, Kuomintang, calling it a vote of no confidence across parties for President Lai Ching-te.
国会神圣的投票的结果，在傅昆萁总召、柯建铭总召、黄国昌总召、朝野一致同心协力之下，把赖清德总统所提名的7名大法官人选全数封杀。
The result was an unexpected turnaround from earlier in the day, when legislators from the smaller opposition Taiwan People's Party said they would stand behind one of the nominees, expected to be the sole confirmation on Tuesday, with other legislators voting along party lines. But the ruling CPP voted against nominee Liu Qingyi, with caucus whip Ke Jianming saying he'd informed the president of the decision beforehand, a show of DPP legislators' independence from the party's leader.
在党人会议以前，我打一通电话给赖总统。我说赖总统，我们今天是国会自主党人自主。他说他自己党人出身的啊，他当过立委，当然绝对尊重。
Ke also described his caucus's rejection of Liu as a given for the DPP. Liu holds a leadership position at the country's top university and previously criticized the party, its former president Tsai Ing-wen, and other notable members.
那投给刘静怡就是开除党籍，不分任何人，全部开除党籍。所以这个也看得到，我们民主进步党今天一致投票反对，这就是我们今天党的会议的结论。
During confirmation hearings, many of the nominees were pressed over their stances on the death penalty. The country's top court recently ruled it partly unconstitutional, but it is still widely supported by the public, something the opposition has cited for their rejection votes. And with new amendments expected to go into effect soon that could paralyze the court without more sitting justices, President Lai will have to select his next nominees carefully until legislators can reach a compromise. Fu Huahong and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
For more on the changes set to affect Taiwan's highest court, Tiffany Wong spoke with Yen-tu Su, research professor at Academia Sinica.
These new amendments have not yet gone into effect yet, but they were very controversial when they were passed. Do we see any other branches of government trying to put a stop to them?
The very constitutionality of these amendments are questionable or are at issue at this time. And so many people are trying to figure out ways for the court to review the very constitutionality of this amendment. And now we can expect that the executive yuan might probably propose the reconsideration of this amendment in 10 days after it received the bill. But once the reconsideration process is finished, the president will probably still promulgate this amendment. But soon the controversy will go directly to the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court can try to figure out ways to review the constitutionality of these amendments.
But if they try to make a ruling on constitutionality with the current number of justices, only 8, that's not enough to make a ruling. Does that mean that it would just be stuck?
Taiwan Constitutional Court, unfortunately, is not the only constitutional court facing this kind of challenge. So back in 2015, the Poland Constitutional Tribunal also faced this kind of attack on the Constitutional Court, and they developed a jurisprudence trying to explain why the court is not bound by this kind of rule manipulation and can still maintain its role in overseeing the constitutionality of law. But certainly we would expect lots of controversy here, and many people will just criticize the court for not following the new rules. It's quite unfortunate that the Taiwan Constitutional Court is further mired in the political controversy here, and certainly its authority will be attacked and eroded further on.
On Tuesday, we saw the legislature reject all 7 of President Lai Ching-te's judicial nominees. Have we ever seen this before in the legislature? What happened with the picks there? And what can we predict going forward with Lai's next round of nominees?
Well, what happened yesterday was indeed a tragedy in Taiwan. It might go down to a sad day in Taiwan's history because all 7 nominees to the Constitutional Court were rejected by a purely partisan party line votes. I mean, that's sad. It's bad politics. It's petty politics. And all sides are playing politics. And that means that it will further politicize the judicial selection process to the court. And it will certainly affect the impartiality and the independence of the court. So President Lai already said that he regrets the result, but he will continue to nominate new justices to the court. But most of the 7 nominees he nominated last time were considered fine jurists, fine lawyers, constitutional lawyers or criminal lawyers in Taiwan. And we still have people who are qualified to sit on the court, but you might sense some hesitation among the potential nominees because once they accept the nomination, it means that they will be subject to this kind of unfair treatment by the legislature. And so I think that would be a bad for Taiwan in the long run, because it would discourage many competent, qualified jurists to serve on the court.
That was Yen-tu Su, research professor at Academia Sinica. Amendments to the laws on the distribution of government funds are causing deep divisions across party lines in Taiwan. Reese Ayers reports on what both sides are saying about how increased funding for local governments could impact the country, and why some regional leaders are opposed to getting more money.
Taking a stand for what they believe is right. These 5 mayors and magistrates from across Taiwan are at the ruling Democratic Progressive Party's headquarters in Taipei to denounce what they say are the opposition's evil amendments to the country's fund distribution laws, reallocating a sizable chunk of money from the central government to local units. It's a change they say will force them to make deep cuts to health, energy, welfare and defense spending, and will disproportionately affect DPP-administered areas in Taiwan's south.
这个对南部来讲是非常不公平，所以也进一步的扩大南北差距，恶化城乡差距。这个都必须把蓝绿的考量，或者是其他政治的考量，把它撇在一边，而把人民的利益做最优先的一个考量。
But the opposition Kuomintang, who, with support from Taiwan's third party, the Taiwan People's Party, hold a majority in the legislature, say the reallocation of funds is important to reward fiscally responsible local government units and support neglected rural communities around the country.
国民党我们极力争取的就是要给农民更好的生活、更好的收益。这13年来，公粮收购价格动也。
Currently, Taiwan's central government is allocated 75% of government funds and revenue, with the remaining 25% going to the local administrations. The KMT's amendments will see a sizable shift in that ratio to roughly 65-35, representing an additional $11.5 billion in annual funds for local governments, on top of the $14.3 billion they already get. With the KMT and TPP in combined control of 16 of Taiwan's 22 local governments, there are concerns the increase in funds could be used for political gain.
This means that the politicians in the local governments now are going to have significantly more resources and significantly more leeway to use that to cement their own influence. There are also going to be concerns about, in certain areas of the country, that corruption may be an issue.
With Taiwan's constitutional court currently paralyzed after the opposition rejected President Lai Ching-te's nominations, judges won't be able to step in to solve any disputes either way, even if the president refuses to sign the amendments. But if the bill does get presidential approval, it could mean a total reshuffle of the general budget, an already contentious partisan issue that could see Taiwan's political stalemate roll deep into the new year. Leon Lien and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, we take you to Florida, where hundreds of people dressed in their festive best gathered at Cocoa Beach for the 16th annual Surfing Santas event. I'm Jeremy Olivier. Take care and see you next time.